Jerry Lawler's a piece of shit, not just on commentary, but as a human being. I'm John Ritlin with a retro review of WWE Unforgiven 2000. Set in Philadelphia, and man, this crowd loved their ECW, even though ECW would unfortunately be dead a few months afterwards. Let me know how long you think ECW would have lasted had it gotten a TV deal and had, a bit better funding. Had they not filed for bankruptcy, how long do you think the company would have gone on? Answers in the comments, please. So this show, pretty intense, all built around the return of Stone Cold. Who hit Stone Cold in the parking lot at Survivor Series 99? Shane McMahon says he has footage proving who did it. It wasn't Rikishi, except it was, because 2 weeks later he would prove he did it for The Rock, he did it for those people. Maybe misremembering that, but moving on. APA and the Dudleys versus Right to Censor, noted piece of shit Val Venus, and noted crackpot piece of shit Steven Richards. And he's talking about, Philadelphia, ECW stomping grounds without mentioning ECW. And then this wasn't all that good. It was a quick 6-minute match. It was intense. I will give them that much. When Val Venus was getting the shit beat out of him, or Steven Richards, it was really nice. And then Steven kicked because Richards wasn't really able to do all that much. I think he had some kind of injury, more in the pity. And Val pins Bubba 1, 2, 3. And then there's teasing of like Steven's going to go through a table. And then no, he's not. Then the four faces beat the shit out of him, which was really nice. And the table bomb, there we go. Good. It's what Steven Richards fucking deserved, the fucking piece of shit. Read up on him, you'll know what I'm talking about. Same with Val Venus. So, Triple H then talks to Stephanie about Kurt. Well, yeah, Kurt did use you, and you were kind of an idiot, and I need to know if you're going to be in my corner tonight. He didn't say she was an idiot, but she was an idiot. Taz versus Jerry Lawler in a strap match. This was weak shit. This was really weak shit. Taz trying to leave Lawler hanging. Moving on. And JR yelling back at Taz on the outside. That was kind of funny. Raven shows up all of a sudden after a ref bump. Despite the fact it's a strap match, so anybody that attacks, I don't think it really would have mattered. He hits Lawler with the DDT. And then you're supposed to win a strap match by touching all four corners, yet Taz locks on the Taz mission, and Lawler's passed out, and he gets the victory. Okay, so Taz gets the victory without touching all four corners. Just weird. It wasn't really all that good. This view didn't really do anything for me. And then Austin arrives and just slams Kelly into the garage door. That looked painful. Cole then joins commentary, and everything took a fucking dip. Well, I say it took a dip, but Cole was just kind of there at this point, so like he has been for the last 20 years, and Lawler unfortunately joins commentary later for a really bad line. Hardcore Battle Royal, Invitational, X Division Gauntlet Battle Royal for Bound for Glory. Wait, sorry. I just reviewed Bound for Glory 2006, and that popped into my head, the Kevin Nash thing. So, Al Snow, as an Italian guy, for some reason, Al Snow, Al Snow, the guy that always claims that wrestling, matches that drew the most money, like whatever matches drew the most money were the best matches. Well, then Al, none of your matches ever drew any fucking money because you were a good worker, and that's about it. Actually, he was pretty much a basic worker. Moving on. Crash Holly, and then Saturn with Terry, and then Test with Trish versus Funaki versus Steve Blackman, and it was a 10-minute time limit. And the title could change hands as many times as, possible, but you have to pin the particular champion. So Blackman was the champion to start out. And at one point, because of the mannequin head, because the mannequin head was more charismatic and more over than Al Snow could ever hope to be, at one point, Terry gets hit with it. Commentary, Terry got head. Oh no, Trish got head. This is actual stuff and how they treated the women in 2000. It was lovely. It wasn't. JR said about Terry, and they'd known each other since WCW. He says, I have, Terry having a headache. I haven't heard of her having too many headaches, but that's another story. Horny JR has always been around. We just didn't want to fucking notice. And in a few title changes, Blackman wins it with a minute left, and then Blackman gets beat down. Steve Blackman gets beat down by everybody, but they don't cover him, and he retains. And he has 24 hours to basically recover before the 24/7 rule is instituted again. And then Angle confronts Austin and hands him a gold medal, or, says, hey, it's like, I'm really happy to see you back. Let me hand you an honorary gold medal. You didn't do anything and earn it, but okay, it is what it is. Austin says, hey, thanks for the medal. I'm going to, put it in a special place right up your ass, and then beats the shit out of him. And kind of a running gag with Angle here. Jericho versus X-Pac. Oh, because X-Pac loved using nunchucks. Man, X-Pac just got a lot of hate from the crowd. A lot of unnecessary hate. Now, I'm not saying that his character was the best, but he was a really damn good worker and could have good matches. This was fast-paced. Crowd booed X-Pac a lot. Lion Tamer for the win. It wasn't bad. It was well-paced. Some good psychology here. And then X-Pac used the nunchucks afterwards and got a little bit of his heat back, and then we would continue this feud. And then Foley and Kurt are talking about, Kurt's talking about all the stuff that he had to deal with, before winning the gold medal. Said that morning I had IBS, and Foley said no, UBS, and it's like it was stupid comedy, but it was kind of funny. And then says, well, hey, how about this? Because of what you and Triple H have done, how about we make it a no DQ match? And Foley's going to be the special guest referee. And then Just Joe interrupts Austin and Rock. Just Joe. You remember that character? Nobody fucking does. I sadly, barely remember it because he was just on Heat, and just Joe, he was a, shit stirrer in the locker room. Why was he there? Why? Why was he there? In all seriousness, what the fuck purpose did he serve? Then we get Edge and Christian versus the Hardys. Steel cage match for the tag titles. This is pretty intense stuff. Short. It was under 15 minutes. Jeff gets knocked out early and keeps trying to get back in, and Matt gets tag team 2-on-1. He gets busted open, and then Christian gets out next, and so it's 1-on-1, Edge and Matt, and then Jeff eventually gets on the ladder, gets back in the ring, can't get knocked off the cage wall, and he gets up onto the cage, and then, why can't Jeff Hardy walk all that well? Oh, wait, watch that spot where he does Whisper in the Wind and completely misses everybody. They fail to catch him, but also they completely miss him. And he just lands, crash, splat, ouch. And then Christian, gets attacked by Lita. Her can run off the ladder. Not like when Lita jerking Edge off the ladder. An actual line from JR on commentary at WrestleMania X7. And then Concerto to Edge, and the Hardys win. And I think they had a ladder match the next night. I might actually retro-review that Raw as well. Stephanie then gives Austin the hat that he was wearing the night he was run down. And Austin says, well, thank you, Stephanie. Hey, at least I got my hat back. I guess I can just go home. And it was just Austin being funny and not hitting a woman. Imagine that. So, Triple H and Foley talking about the match. Yeah, we haven't seen eye to eye, but, we're going to have this no DQ match. Well, Kurt and Triple H are. And then we get Eddie with China versus Rikishi for the IC title. This is all because Eddie was upset at China for being in Playboy, trying to get in the Playboy Mansion to eliminate the picks. Yes, tear up the picks and all that stuff. And also, Rikishi had laid out China at one point. This was, it was a fracturing relationship, basically. But Eddie had proposed to China, and okay, she was there, but also she was kind of upset at Eddie for some of the shit he'd done. And she forces him to get back in the ring. It wasn't great. China stops the count at one point because she wants Eddie to win, or retain the, she wants him to win, but also retain the Intercontinental Championship. And Rikishi got more angry, actually shoving her and everything. Who do you think you're messing with? Who do you think you're talking to? Like this kind of stuff. He's shoving her. Gee, I wonder what Rikishi's going to end up doing in a few weeks. And China's on the match, by the way. China never laid a hand on Rikishi. He hits a sidekick on her. That causes a DQ. All because China was in the ring who was not in the actual match. So they've been doing this shit for 20 goddamn years. And then a bonsai drop on China. Okay, Eddie then gets the title and then checks on China, proving that we're just about to cement the end of the relationship, which I think ends when Eddie ends up with two of the Godfather's hoes. One was Victoria, or the former Godfather's hoes, because he was a good father at this point. And one was Victoria, and then China put them both through tables. And then Victoria went down to OVW and would train and, get even better and become one of the most underutilized women talents that WWE ever had, especially during this time. So then, we get Triple H with Stephanie versus Kurt Angle, no DQ match, Foley as the ref. Now, all through the night, Kurt had been upset because Austin had attacked him. And they talked about how sensitive he was. Nothing wrong with being sensitive, whether you're a guy or a girl, doesn't really matter. You can be sensitive if that's how you are. Some people are more sensitive than others. And Jerry Lawler, fucking piece of shit that should have gone to jail in the 90s, and a noted homophobe, noted bigot. I mean, and he is. He's a fucking bigot. And if you don't think he's a fucking bigot, you really don't have to try hard to check out some of the, you don't have to try hard. Check out some of the shit he's done and some of the shit he's said. Now, I'm not talking in promos. He said a lot of shit, and the way he views women and stuff like that. It's one thing to joke about both genders, but here's what Lawler said. Kurt may be a bit sensitive, but he's not a she-male. That's an actual line that he says. Let me rephrase that. Let me say that again. Kurt may be a bit sensitive, but he's not a she-male. Even JR was like, what? Like, that wasn't even a joke. Yes, WWE did some stuff where I think they had China. She had a friend that dressed in drag. I don't remember the name. That was in the feud with Mark Henry. well, a love interest thing had turned into a feud with Mark Henry. And okay, whatever, you have some laughs and everything, and Mark Henry got, made fun of and stuff like that, and China got one up on him. Okay, here's the thing, though. You can make that a storyline, you make whatever storyline. They had Vito wear a dress a number of years later. They had Saturn dress in, dresses and stuff like that. Why in the world did Lawler say this? Oh, right, because Lawler's a big. It's not even funny. That's the thing. That's not even back then, this wasn't funny. Like, what the actual fuck was Lawler saying? I mean, I don't feel bad for anything Lawler suffered in the last 20 years because of stuff like this. And also because of the fact he's, one of the most overrated talents that I've ever seen. Sure, he was good in Memphis, and people liked him, and that's fine. You guys can like Lawler. If you guys laughed at this line, fine. You laughed at it more than I did. This wasn't funny even back then. This is fucking stupid, and Lawler's fucking stupid. You know what? I'm glad he's not on commentary anymore because he wasn't fucking needed on commentary. He should have been fucking suspended for shit like this. Even in the Attitude Era. But you know what? Hey, let's be honest. Vince has always viewed people a lot differently, and especially if you ain't somebody drawing him money, he'll make fun of you. And it's just to focus on a particular group of people for no reason. Being mean-spirited, like what the fuck? It wasn't the only time either company, WWE or WCW, was mean-spirited, but it's just like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck was this? So the match was intense. Triple H had bad ribs, and we got some really good action, and Kurt tried to shove Foley, and Foley kept trying to be impartial, but obviously had history with both, especially with Triple H. And then Stephanie ends up low-blowing Kurt, pedigree to Kurt. It would have been actually kind of funny if he had said, oh, thanks, Steph, pedigreed her, and then pedigreed Kurt. But the happy couple didn't kisses afterwards, and Triple H had a busted mouth. He had like a busted lip or whatever, so blood got all over Stephanie. That's romance right there. So Triple H gets the victory, and then Kurt will go on to beat The Rock at No Mercy next month for the title. And then we get Shane saying he has video proof of who hit Austin, and then shows footage of Shamrock being hit in a car on Raw by Steve Blackman from last year. And oh, Steve Blackman did this and everything. This is when Shamrock was no longer with the company, I believe. He hadn't been with the company for a while. And then here's Blackman to confront Shane. This is all because of what happened in SummerSlam 2000. And Austin's out to a huge pop. Fucking huge pop. Go back and listen to this. This was fucking intense. It wasn't quite as loud as the Backlash one, from earlier that year, but it was pretty damn intense. And then he hits a stunner on Blackman because Blackman kept trying to get to Shane, but nope. Austin's like, nope. Then he doesn't believe it because him and Shane are drinking beers. Austin and Shane are. And then one stunner. Shane gets back up after some time. Another stunner. And Shane gets back up at one point wobbly. Another stunner. 3 times a stunner, and there we go. And Shane just selling his ass off every single time. Rock then talks about his opponents, talk about the Undertaker getting a funny feeling when he rides his motorcycle. Dick jokes, am I right? And then it's Undertaker versus Kane versus Chris Benoit versus The Rock. See, if it had just been a 4-way in June of 2007, then none of this would have happened. I don't know why I'm like this, folks. I really don't. This match was pretty damn intense, though, for the WWE Championship. Rock was the champion, defending. And he did something weird, though. It was fast-paced. We got a ref bump. We got a chair shot to the head. And then Benoit pins Undertaker 1, 2, 3. But Undertaker's foot was under the ropes. So this is the second time, by the way, Foley will have screwed over Benoit from getting the title. He did a Foley low 2000. And then suddenly, Benoit's like, wait, what the hell? I won the title. Oh, it turns out that the foot was under the rope. The problem is we didn't see the replay. So everybody's confused. They're like, wait a second. Benoit won all of a sudden, not even pinning The Rock. And then somebody put the lineup because Foley restarts it. JR sees Benoit staring down his 3 opponents and says, Benoit's got the death sentence. There were a lot of questionable lines in this. Crossface, Benoit ripping and tearing. Kane and Undertaker eventually paired off. And Rock hits a rock bottom 1, 2, 3 and gets a victory. So there you go right there. So yeah, despite some questionable lines on commentary, fucking hell, some questionable lines that weren't even funny then, my God, this was actually a pretty fun show, and the Philadelphia crowd absolutely helped. So, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.